I was 23. Living in my parents' basement. Yes, I know. Very cool, Charles. Very impressive. But in my defense, I was saving money. That's what I told people. The truth? I was scared. Scared of the real world. Scared of failing. Scared of being alone. So I stayed in that basement with my old video games, my messy bed, and my stupid pride. My sister's name is Claire. She's 2 years older. She has this laugh that fills up a whole room. Annoying, but also warm. Claire always took care of me. Even when I didn't ask. Even when I didn't deserve it. And then there was Elena. Elena was Claire's best friend. They met in college. Elena had long dark hair that she always pulled into a messy bun. She wore old sweaters with holes in the sleeves. She laughed like she meant it. And she had this way of looking at you, not through you, not past you, right at you. Like you mattered. I first met Elena when I was 19. She came over for a barbecue. I was grilling burgers and burning half of them. She walked up to me, took the spatula right out of my hand, and said, "Charles, you're a nice guy. But these burgers are committing a crime." I laughed so hard I almost fell over. From that day on, Elena was just there. At family dinners. At birthday parties. At Christmas. She became like a second sister. Or so I told myself. For years, nothing happened. I mean nothing. I dated other girls. She dated other guys. We joke around. She teased me about my haircut. I tease her about her horrible taste in music. Normal stuff. Safe stuff. But here's the thing about safe, it's a lie. You don't notice the little things. The way she hands you a cup of coffee without you asking. The way she remembers you hate pickles on your sandwich. The way she sits next to you on the couch, close enough that your arms touch, but far enough that no one would notice. I noticed. I just didn't admit it. Let me tell you about the night everything changed. It was a Saturday. Rainy. The kind of rain that makes you want to stay inside and do nothing. Claire had gone out with some friends from work. She asked me to keep Elena company. Elena was going through a breakup. A bad one. Guy named Mark. Total idiot. He told her she was too much. Too emotional. Too loud. Too alive. I hated him without ever meeting him. So Elena came over. She showed up at my parents' house around 7. Her eyes were red. She tried to smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. I opened the door and said, "Wow. You look terrible." She laughed. A real laugh. "Thanks, Charles. You always know what to say." I said, "Come on. I made popcorn. And I have that terrible wine you like." She followed me down to the basement. Now, my basement is not romantic. It's got a brown couch that my mom bought in 2005. A TV that's too small. Posters of bands I don't even listen to anymore. But it's comfortable. It's safe. Or it was. We sat on the couch. I put on some old comedy movie. Neither of us watched it. She talked about Mark. About how he made her feel small. About how she gave him 3 years and he gave her nothing back. I listened. That's all I did. I listened. And somewhere around the second glass of wine, she looked at me and said, "Why are you so nice to me?" I said, "Because you're my sister's best friend. I have to be." She punched my arm. "No. Really?" I shrugged. "I don't know. You're okay, I guess." She smiled. A real smile this time. "You're an idiot, Charles." "I know." We were quiet for a minute. The rain was loud on the window. The movie was playing some dumb scene I can't remember. And then she moved. Just a little. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Her hair smelled like coconut. Her hand was on the couch, close to mine. I should have moved. I should have said something funny. I should have made popcorn. Anything. But I didn't. I turned my head. She looked up at me. Her eyes were wet. Not from crying. From something else. Something I didn't have a word for. I said, "Elena, we shouldn't." She said, "I know." Neither of us moved. And I still don't know who started it, we kissed. It wasn't a big kiss. It wasn't a movie kiss with fireworks and music. It was soft. Hesitant. Like two people testing water they knew was too hot. Her lips were warm. Her hand touched my face. And for 5 seconds the whole world went quiet. Then she pulled back. Her eyes were wide. "Oh no," she whispered. I said, "Yeah." "Oh no." We didn't talk after that. Not really. She said she should go home. I said okay. She walked up the stairs. She didn't look back. I sat on that brown couch for an hour, staring at the wall, replaying those 5 seconds over and over. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. And I knew that something had broken. Not bad. Just different. Like a bone that heals a little crooked. It's fine. It works. But you always feel it. The next morning, I woke up hoping it was a dream. It wasn't. My phone had a text from Claire. "Hey, breakfast? Elena's coming over." I almost threw up. I went upstairs. My mom was making pancakes. My dad was reading the newspaper. Claire was at the table, smiling. And Elena was sitting across from her, drinking orange juice, acting like nothing happened. She looked at me. Just for a second. Her eyes said, "Don't say anything." So I didn't. I sat down. I ate pancakes. I made a joke about my dad's silly hat. Everyone laughed. Normal. Safe. A lie. That was the start. Or maybe that was the end. I didn't know yet. What I did know was this: I had kissed my sister's best friend. And I didn't regret it. Not one bit. That was the scary part. Let me tell you what happens after you kiss someone you're not supposed to kiss. First, you avoid them. Second, you think about them all the time. Third, you realize avoiding them is impossible because they're everywhere. For 2 weeks after that night, I didn't see Elena. She stopped coming to family dinners. She stopped texting Claire as much. Claire noticed. Of course she noticed. Claire notices everything. She asked me, "Do you think Elena is mad at me?" I said, "No. She's probably just busy." Liar, liar, basement dweller. But then came the day I couldn't avoid anymore. Claire asked me to help her move some furniture into her new apartment. She had just gotten her own place. Big step. I was proud of her. She said, "Elena's coming too. Hope that's okay." I said, "Why wouldn't it be?" My voice cracked a little. Claire gave me a weird look but didn't say anything. So there I was. Saturday morning, 10 a.m., carrying a heavy dresser up 2 flights of stairs. Sweating. Questioning my life choices. And then Elena walked in. She was wearing old jeans and a gray t-shirt. No makeup. Her hair was a mess. She looked beautiful. That was the problem. She said, "Hey, Charles." Flat. Neutral. I said, "Hey, Elena." Flat. Neutral. We didn't look at each other. We just worked. Carried boxes. Moved chairs. Assembled a bookshelf that had too many pieces and not enough instructions. Claire was in the kitchen making sandwiches. And at one point, Elena and I were alone in the living room. She was holding a lamp. I was holding a rug. Stupid moment. She whispered, "We need to talk." I said, "About what?" She gave me a look. "Charles." "Fine. But not here. Not now." She nodded. "Tonight. There's a coffee shop on 5th Street. 9 o'clock. Okay." She walked away. My heart was doing that thing again. The pounding thing. The shaking thing. I hated it. I also loved it. That's the worst part about feelings. They don't care about rules. That night, I almost didn't go. I stood in front of my mirror for 20 minutes changing shirts. Too nice? Too casual? What do you wear to a conversation that could ruin everything? I finally settled on a blue sweater. The one Elena once said made me look less like a homeless person. High praise. I got to the coffee shop early. It was small, warm, smelled like cinnamon. I ordered a black coffee and sat in the corner. I watched the door. She walked in at 9:03. 3 minutes late. She always did that. Fashionably late, she called it. I called it annoying. But I smiled anyway. She sat down across from me. She ordered tea. Chamomile. Because caffeine made her anxious. I knew that. I knew too much. For a minute neither of us spoke. Then she said, "Okay. Let's do this." I said, "Do what?" "Talk about the thing we're not talking about." I laughed. "That's very clear, Elena." She smiled. "Just a little. You're an idiot. You keep saying that. Because you keep being an idiot." We were quiet again. The coffee shop had soft music playing. Some old song I didn't know. She played with her tea bag, dipping it up and down. Up and down. Nervous habit. Then she said, "Charles, what happened in your basement?" I can't stop thinking about it. My stomach flipped. "Me either." "That's bad," she said. "I know. Claire is my best friend. She's like a sister to me. If she found out..." "She won't," I said. "Unless we tell her." Elena looked at me. "Do you want to tell her?" I thought about it. Really thought. "No," I said. "Not yet. I don't even know what this is. 1 kiss. 5 seconds. Maybe it was just a moment. A stupid, wine-fueled, sad movie moment." Elena nodded. "Maybe. But maybe it wasn't." She stopped dipping the tea bag. "What do you mean?" I took a breath. This was the part where I had to be honest. And honest was scary. "Elena, I've known you for 4 years. 4 years. And I never looked at you that way. Not once. You were Claire's friend. That was your whole job in my brain. But then that night, I don't know. I saw you different. Not different. The same. I just noticed." "Noticed what?" "Everything. The way you laugh. The way you get quiet when you're sad. The way you always ask me how my day was when no one else does." I stopped. "I'm saying this all wrong." She reached across the table. Her fingers touched mine. Just for a second. Then she pulled back. "You're not wrong," she said. "You're just late." "Late? I've liked you for 2 years, Charles. 2 years. But you were Claire's little brother. And I thought you'd never see me that way. So I buried it. Dated other guys. Tried to forget." She laughed, but it was sad. "Then you had to go and be nice to me on the worst night of my life. And you kissed me. And now I can't bury it anymore." 2 years. She had liked me for 2 years. And I had no idea. I'm not a smart man. I know this about myself. But this was a new level of stupid. I said, "What do we do?" She said, "I don't know." That was the truth of it. We didn't know. 2 grown adults. Well, 1 grown adult and me in my parents' basement. Sitting in a coffee shop, trying to solve a problem that had no solution. Here's what we decided that night. We wouldn't tell Claire. Not yet. We wouldn't kiss again. We wouldn't even hold hands. We'd just be friends. Normal. Safe. The lie again. But here's what I learned. You can't unfeel something. The next few weeks were torture. Not bad torture. Good torture. Like eating 1 chip and not being allowed to eat the whole bag. We saw each other at Claire's apartment. At family dinners. At a stupid bowling night that Claire organized because she loved forcing people to have fun. And every time, Elena and I would act normal. We'd joke. We'd tease. We'd sit on opposite sides of the room. But our eyes would meet. Just for a second. And in that second, we'd both remember. One night, Claire pulled me aside. We were at her apartment. Elena had just left. Claire was washing dishes. I was drying them. She said, "Charlie?" She only called me Charlie when she was serious. "Yeah? Is everything okay with you and Elena?" My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" "I don't know. You two seem weird. Distant. Did you fight?" I shook my head. "No. No fight. She's just dealing with the breakup still. You know how she is." Claire looked at me. Her eyes were sharp. Claire sees everything. That's what made her a good sister and a bad person to lie to. But she nodded. "Okay. Just checking. I need you two to get along. You're both important to me. Important to her." That was the knife. Because what we were doing, the hiding, the lying, the almost feeling, it would hurt her. And hurting Claire was like hurting myself. We grew up together. Same house. Same fights over the TV remote. Same stupid arguments about who ate the last piece of cake. She trusted me. And I was breaking that trust one secret look at a time. That night, I went home to my basement. I lay on my bed and stared at the ceiling. I thought about Elena's hand on my face. I thought about her saying, "I've liked you for 2 years." I thought about Claire's face if she ever found out. And I made a decision. A stupid, painful, grown-up decision. I was going to end it. Before it started. Before someone got hurt. I texted Elena. "We need to stop. I can't do this to Claire. I'm sorry." She texted back 3 minutes later. 3 long minutes. "Okay. Just. Okay." 1 word. 2 letters. Felt like a punch. We didn't talk for a week. Then 2 weeks. Claire asked again. I made excuses. Elena stopped coming to family dinners. My mom asked, "Where's that sweet girl?" I said she was busy. My dad said nothing. My dad is smart. He doesn't ask questions he doesn't want the answers to. But here's the thing about stopping something that hasn't really started. It doesn't stop. Not inside. I thought about her every day. Every single day. I'd be at work. I sold phones at a mall kiosk, very glamorous, and I'd see a girl with dark hair and my heart would jump. It was pathetic. I was pathetic. And then, 3 weeks after the coffee shop, everything fell apart. It was my birthday. I turned 24. Claire threw a small party at her apartment. Just family and a few friends. My mom made her famous lasagna. My dad bought a cake that said, "Happy birthday, basement boy." Very funny, Dad. Elena wasn't there. Claire said she couldn't make it. Work thing. I didn't believe her. But I didn't say anything. We ate. We laughed. We sang happy birthday. I blew out candles. 24 candles. Made a wish. I won't tell you what I wished for. But it started with an E and ended with an A. Later that night, after everyone left, Claire and I were cleaning up. She was washing dishes. I was drying. Like before. And she said, "Charlie?" "Yeah?" Elena told me. I dropped the plate. It didn't break. But it should have. I turned to her. My face was hot. My hands were cold. "Told you what?" Claire turned off the water. She dried her hands. She looked at me with eyes that were sad, not angry. That was worse. About the kiss. About the coffee shop. About everything. I couldn't breathe. "Claire, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you. I just..." She held up her hand. "Stop. Just stop." I stopped. She sat down at the kitchen table. I sat across from her. Just like Elena and I had sat in the coffee shop. Different chairs. Same fear. Claire said. "She called me this morning. Crying. She said she couldn't keep lying to me. She said she loved you. Those were her words. I love your brother, Claire." Claire wiped her eyes. "Did you know that?" I shook my head. "No. I mean, she said she liked me. But love? No. She didn't say that. Well, she said it to me. We were quiet. The refrigerator hummed. The clock on the wall ticked. I could hear my own heartbeat. Then Claire said, "I'm not mad." I looked up. "You're not?" "I'm hurt. There's a difference. I'm hurt that you both lied to me. I'm hurt that you didn't trust me. But I'm not mad that you have feelings for her." She paused. "Elena is a good person. You're a good person. Annoying but good. Why would I be mad about two good people liking each other?" I didn't have an answer for that. Because I had spent so much time worrying about her being mad, I forgot she might just be understanding. Claire leaned forward. "But here's the thing, Charlie. You have to be honest with yourself. Do you actually love her? Or is this just a moment?" I thought about Elena's laugh. Her messy bun. Her stupid teabag dipping habit. The way she looked at me like I mattered. The way my chest felt full when she was near and empty when she wasn't. I said, "I think I love her." Claire nodded. "Then go." "Go where?" "She's at her apartment. Alone. Crying. Because she thinks you don't want her after that text you sent." Claire stood up. "Go, you idiot." I didn't need to be told twice. I ran. Not walked. Ran. Out of Claire's apartment. Down the stairs. Out to my car. I drove faster than I should have. It started raining again. Of course it did. The universe loves dramatic weather. Elena lived 15 minutes away. I made it in 10. I parked badly. Left the car half on the sidewalk. Didn't care. I ran up to her door. It was an old building with a buzzer that didn't work. So I knocked. Loud. Desperate. Probably scared her neighbors. The door opened. She was standing there in an old t-shirt and sweatpants. Her eyes were red. Her nose was red. She had been crying. A lot. When she saw me, her face went through about 5 emotions in 2 seconds. Surprise. Anger. Sadness. Confusion. And something soft. Something I hoped was hope. She said, "Charles, what are you doing here?" I said, "Claire told me." She closed her eyes. "Oh. Can I come in?" She stepped aside. Her apartment was small. A couch. A TV. A plant that was half dead. Pictures on the wall of her and Claire at the beach, at a concert, at my parents' house for Christmas. I had been here before. But this time felt different. She sat on the couch. I sat next to her. Not close. But not far. She said, "I'm sorry I told her. I know I broke our promise." I shook my head. "No. You did the right thing. I should have told her from the start." "Then why didn't you?" I thought about it. Because I was scared. Scared of losing Claire. Scared of losing you. Scared of looking stupid. I laughed. "I'm always scared." Elena looked at me. Me too. We sat in the quiet. The rain was loud on her window. Like that first night. But different. This time there was no wine. No movie. No excuses. I turned to her. "Elena, that text I sent. The one that said we should stop. I was wrong." "Which part?" "All of it. I don't want to stop. I don't want to pretend I don't feel this." I took a breath. "Claire asked me if I loved you. I said I think I do. But I don't want to think. I want to know." Her eyes were wet again. "And? I love you, Elena. I don't know when it started. I don't know how. But it's real. It's not just a moment. It's not just a kiss. It's everything." She started crying. But she was smiling. That's a weird combination. Crying and smiling. But it's also the most honest combination. Because that's what love is sometimes. Happy and sad at the same time. She said, "You're such an idiot, Charles." "I know. I love you too. I've loved you for 2 years. And I tried to stop. I tried so hard. But you make it impossible. You with your stupid sweaters and your burnt burgers and your basement. I laughed. The basement is part of the package. She laughed too. And then she leaned in. And I leaned in. And we kissed again. This time it wasn't hesitant. It wasn't 5 seconds of fear. It was longer. Deeper. Like two people who had been holding their breath for months finally let it out. When we pulled apart, she put her forehead against mine. She whispered, "What do we do now?" I said, "I don't know. But we figure it out together." That was the beginning. Or maybe it was the middle. Stories are funny like that. You never know where you are until you look back. The next few months were complicated. That's the nice word. Claire was supportive, but it was weird. Elena went from being her best friend to also dating her brother. That's a shift. Claire told me once, "I'm happy for you. But please don't tell me about your love life. Ever." I promised. My parents found out. My mom cried happy tears. My dad shook my hand and said, "About time." Apparently everyone knew except me. Classic. But relationships aren't just the good parts. And this isn't a fairy tale. So let me tell you about the hard parts. Elena and I fought. Not big fights. Small ones. She thought I didn't open up enough. I thought she worried too much. She wanted to talk about feelings. I wanted to watch TV and pretend feelings didn't exist. Normal couple problems. But amplified because of how we started. There was always that shadow. The shadow of the secret. The guilt of those weeks we lied to Claire. Even though Claire forgave us, we hadn't fully forgiven ourselves. That's the thing about mistakes. They leave marks. One night, about 6 months in, Elena said something that stopped my heart. We were on my couch. The brown one. Same couch where we first kissed. She was curled up next to me. We were watching some dumb show. And she said, "Charles, do you ever wonder if we're only together because of that night? Because I was sad and you were nice?" I turned off the TV. "Where is this coming from?" She sat up. "I don't know. I think about it sometimes. What if you don't really love me? What if you just feel bad for me?" I looked at her. Really looked. "Elena, listen to me. I don't feel bad for you. You're the strongest person I know. You went through a breakup and still showed up. You cried and still laughed. You told my sister the truth even when it was hard. That's not weakness. That's everything I want to be." She was quiet. I said, "I love you because you're you. Not because of one night. Not because of a kiss. Because of 4 years of inside jokes and burnt burgers and you stealing my fries and you remembering I hate pickles. That's love. That's the real stuff." She smiled. That real smile. "You're not an idiot today. Give it time." She laughed and lay back down. And I held her. And for a moment, everything felt simple. But life isn't simple. And love isn't easy. A year later, things got hard again. Really hard. My dad got sick. Nothing dramatic. Nothing sudden. Just tired. Falling asleep on the couch. Forgetting things. The doctor said it was his heart. Needed surgery. A big one. Our whole family was scared. My mom tried to be strong but cried in the kitchen when she thought no one was listening. Claire stopped laughing. I stopped sleeping. And Elena? Elena was there. Every day. She brought food to the hospital. She sat with my mom. She made Claire laugh when no one else could. She held my hand in the waiting room when I thought I was going to fall apart. One night, after my dad's surgery went well, thank God, I was sitting in the hospital hallway. It was 3 in the morning. Elena came out with 2 cups of coffee. She sat next to me. She said, "He's going to be okay." I said, "I know." But I didn't know. Not really. That's the thing about life. You never know. Elena put her head on my shoulder. Just like that first night. I thought about how different everything was. How scared I used to be. How scared I still was. But also how I wasn't alone anymore. I said, "Thank you?" She said, "For what?" "For staying. For not running away when things got hard." She looked up at me. "Charles, I'm not going anywhere. That's the point." I kissed her forehead. She closed her eyes. And in that cold hospital hallway, with the bad coffee and the tired lights, I realized something. Love isn't about the big moments. The kisses. The confessions. The grand gestures. Love is about the small things. The coffee at 3 a.m. The hand you hold when you're scared. The person who stays when it would be easier to leave. My dad recovered. Slowly. But he recovered. Our family went back to normal. Or a new normal. The kind where you appreciate things more because you almost lost them. And Elena and I? We kept going. 2 years. 3 years. We moved in together. Got a small apartment with a kitchen that was too small and a bedroom that was just right. She still stole my fries. I still burnt the burgers. Some things don't change. But here's the part one didn't expect. One night, about 3 years after that first kiss, Claire came over for dinner. The three of us sat at our tiny kitchen table. Elena made pasta. I burned the garlic bread. Claire laughed at us. And at one point Claire raised her glass. She said, "To my best friend and my idiot brother. I'm glad you finally figured it out." Elena smiled. I smiled. We clinked glasses. And I thought about that night in the basement. The rain. The wine. The kiss that started everything. I thought about the fear. The lying. The coffee shop. The hospital. All of it. And I realized something else. The story wasn't about a kiss. The story was about what happened after. Because anyone can kiss someone. That's easy. The hard part is staying. The hard part is choosing each other every day, even when it's easier to walk away. Even when your sister might get mad. Even when your dad gets sick. Even when you fight about stupid things like whose turn it is to do the dishes. We don't have a perfect ending. We're still in the middle. We still fight. We still have bad days. She still thinks I don't open up enough. I still think she worries too much. But last week, I came home from work. Bad day. A customer yelled at me about a phone case. Long story. I walked in the door, ready to complain. And Elena was sitting on the couch. She had made my favorite meal. She had the movie I liked ready. She didn't say anything. She just opened her arms. I sat down. She held me. And I didn't have to say a word. That's love. Not the big things. The small things. The staying things. The coffee at 3 a.m. things. So if you're listening to this story, and I know you are, here's what I want you to know. Sometimes you kiss the wrong person. Sometimes you kiss the right person at the wrong time. Sometimes you lie. Sometimes you're scared. Sometimes you hide in your parents' basement because the real world is too big. But don't give up. Don't run away because something is hard. Don't send the "we need to stop" text unless you really mean it. Because love, real love, is worth the risk. Worth the awkward family dinners. Worth the hard conversations. Worth the hospital hallways at 3 a.m. Elena and I aren't perfect. We're just two people who kissed one night and decided to stay. And that's the whole story. Or most of it. The rest is still being written. But I'll tell you one last thing. Last night, she fell asleep on my shoulder. Same couch. Different apartment. Same brown blanket. I turned off the TV. I listened to her breathe. And I thought about that night in the basement. All those years ago. I thought about how scared I was. How I almost let fear win. And I smiled. Because fear didn't win. We did. Not a fairy tale. Not a tragedy. Just a story. Our story. And it started with a kiss.